Hello everyone, I am Mariel Ancawan and I am very delightful to share to you today some methods regarding teaching grammar. The method that I am going to explain throughout the video is about teaching grammar using text, stories, songs, and rhymes. But before we will start, let me ask you first. Have you noticed that some students aren't able to cope up with the discussion or the lesson itself? It is because the method we use seems to be very serious that it might tend to make the ambience boring. And it will provide a negative communication and relationship towards the class. So as a tip, we need to give an extra effort to capture their attention. We need to make them be attentive in the class in order for them to acquire the knowledge we impart to them effectively. Now let's proceed to the first method, which is teaching grammar using text. As a teacher, we need to think creatively and critically. We should go beyond the actual text because being a teacher seems very tricky. That you need to be strategic in order to exploit your knowledge very well. Actually, this method, which is teaching grammar using text, is very usual method in times of elementary days, but it can be used in high school or even in college. Alright, so in this method, it has many options. Here, let me tell you. While teaching grammar, it is not just you're going to discuss or read and read and read in front of your class. You should show them also how it works, like giving examples, so that they can give idea, that's how it works, so that's what I'm gonna do, so that my grammar would be accurate or my sentence would be accurate. And with that, the effectiveness of your teaching will be very good. Now, here are some different ways in teaching grammar using text. First is match the beginnings and the endings. Okay, as you can see in this example, here there are boxes, colored boxes actually, and under it there are also clauses which corresponds to the three clauses inside the box. So, inside the box, these are the phrases of the beginning of the sentences. And below are the phrases of the endings of these sentences. So we're going to match which beginning fits in here in the ending below. Now, let's figure it out together. First box, red box. Let's read this. You should keep your neck warm. If you're going to figure out something, you should think that, and you should use the WH question. What, where, when, why, and how. So in this case, you should ask. It says that you should keep your neck warm. Why we should keep our neck warm? What we usually feel why we should keep our neck warm? It is because you should create a scenario in your head and broaden your mind and put literal situation. In these three options here below, you have to choose. So let's see. You should keep your neck warm. In this first option, you'll need to put a bandage on it. So, is it fit in the first sentence? You should think that words will be fit in the first sentence, or it corresponds to the second sentence, or it answers to the second sentence. That's how we match, and that's how we learn grammar. Okay, so here, because grammar is how we make things work, how we produce words that is very understandable. That's it. Here, this is already not fit into the first box. Now let's proceed to the second line. You should keep your neck warm if you have cough. Think. If you have cough, would you love a cold, freezy air be adopted in your neck? No, right? Because it will trigger and cause a cough. The answer is, if you put it in a literal way, in our everyday living, we must keep our neck warm in order to not trigger our sickness, which can cause cough. So, the answer is, you should keep your neck warm if you have cough. Okay, so let's highlight this one with color orange. Now let's proceed to the second box. When you cut yourself. So, what do you think is the ending of this? When you cut yourself, like a small wound, what will you do if you have one? What we usually do. Think. Apply it in our everyday living, our usual daily doings when we experience that one. what are you going to do? Will you put a bandage on it, or if they think you have fractured bone, what do you think? Of course, we need to put bandage on the wound and prevent the bacteria to come in our wounds because it is open. So the answer for this is, when you cut yourself, this is the first sentence, beginning and the ending of the sentence, you need to put a bandage on it. Because first sentence and second sentence, if you're going to read this one by one, these are dependent sentences and we can't understand what it really meant. It needs each other in order for us to understand what it really meant, for them to become independent class. So now, let's highlight the color blue. And the last one, it is obviously is the answer for the green box. Doctors will take an x-ray because x-ray is about our bones. So keyword here is bone if they think you have fractured bone. And fractured also, because fractured, we don't encounter fractured eyebrow, fractured skin. It is just bone. For me, the only one which we can call as fractured is our bone. It is just for me. So it is a keyword for me to find out which is the beginning and the ending. So let's highlight this one. Now, have you understand what is matching the beginnings and endings of the sentences? It might work out for you as well, using this method on teaching grammar. For it activates the mind of the child and gives him challenge, which give him urge to be attentive in the class and learn also. Now let's proceed to the second method under using text. Now, here is choosing the best from a series of options. Here are the choices in between the sentence. Let's read the sentence. Carlos was scared. He ran away from off with the Curupira. So what do you think is the word that fits in this statement? Let's read it with the options. Let's start with the word with. Carlos was scared. He ran away with the Curupira. Do you think it fits in the sentence? No, it does not. Thus, Carlos mentioned that he is with somebody? No, right? He just said that he was scared. And for your information, Curupira, based on my research, Curupira is a mythological creature of Brazilian folklore. So this creature is very, very scary. Its physical feature is very, very scary. He can't run with the Curupira where he was scared of. So this is already a no. Now let's proceed to the middle one. Carlos was scared. He ran away of the Curupira. Do you think it is fit in to the sentence? Of is a function word which indicates of pointing something. Thus, Carlos pointing something here. Does he mention he is pointing something? No, right? So this is no also. Now let's proceed to the last option, which is obviously the last one, so it is the correct one. Let's read it together. Carlos was scared. He ran away from the Curupira. Curupira, so from this statement, it is really clear and we really understand that he was scared to the Curupira. So he ran away from the Curupira. From is a function word which indicates that starting point of physical movement. So might be he sees a Curupira, so Carlos was scared, so he ran away from the Curupira. Did you get it? Okay, so now let's proceed to the third example of method using text. Here, reordering jumbled words to make accurate sentence. So jumbled words is an unarranged word from the word itself, jumbled. Unarranged word which makes the sentence inaccurate, right? Because if it is jumbled, we can understand what is the message of that sentence. Let's see. Here are the jumbled words. Planted, group, the, a, residence, trees, by, of, where. Did you get it? By listening to it and by reading to it, it is clearly and it is obvious that it is not an accurate form of a sentence. So all we need to do is reorder or put them in the right order and be able to make it correct. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think is the best way to correct the incorrect word? Okay, let's figure it out. So, the answer is the trees were planted by a group of residents. So, the here is an article. The trees is noun, planted verb, by a group of residents. These are nouns. So here we can clearly understand what it really meant. Let's read again together. The trees were planted by a group of residents. So I can guarantee that using this activity, ordering jumbled words, it will clearly tickle the minds of the students. It will really cultivate and stimulate their way of thinking. It will broaden and deeper their thinking, which practices them in grammar. So now let's proceed to the next activity which you can use on teaching grammar. It is filling gaps using appropriate forms. So from the word filling gaps, you should fill in the gap in order to attain the accurate form of a sentence. So without any further ado, let's start. Here are the 3 sentences which has choices under it inside the box here, the brown box. Under, we will pick up here the answers which corresponds to the sentence above. Okay, first sentence. Tina picks blank in the garden. What do you think Tina will pick in the garden? Think critically. Can Tina pick the capital? Can Tina pick the bakery? It is impossible. It cannot be left by just one person because it is really impossible to think. You might be a superhero if you live a bakery or a capital. What do you think? It is obviously the fruit raspberries. It can be picked by your teeny tiny little fingers. Compared to the 2 options, bakery and capital, which is very impossible. So this is very obvious that Tina picks raspberries in the garden. We can't find bakery in the garden or the capital in the garden. So it is obviously the raspberries. So let's put here. Tina picks raspberries in the garden. Now let's proceed to the second sentence. Madrid is the blank of Spain. What do you think in these 2 options left is the right choice of word that fits in the second sentence? Madrid. What do you think Madrid? This is a place, at the same time Spain. Bakery can also be considered as a place, but it is like a location or a place to eat. Is it Madrid a bakery? I am sure that Madrid contains bakery, but it is not mentioned there that Madrid is the bakery of Spain. It is not Madrid titled Madrid. Maybe, we can tell. But capital. Capital is describing a place. So what do you think in the 2 choices? Capital or bakery? The correct answer is Madrid is the capital of the Spain. When you know Madrid, this is the capital of Spain. As you might encounter it. You might encounter it in the history subject. Now let's proceed to the third sentence, which is Mother buys bread at the. Where did you usually buy bread? Is it in the ukay-ukay? Is it in the store? It is obviously in the bakery. We will buy bread in the bakery. Okay, now let's proceed to the next one. Rewriting in a different tense or voice. Rewriting, it will be rephrasing. You will change the sentence structure. For example, in this, here is the first sentence. The trees were planted by a group of residents. So how can you cultivate it to look more, to build more, to construct more good than this sentence? Think, how can you rephrase it? Scramble the words not scramble the words and to make it incorrect, but more accurate to the next level of the first sentence. It can be either a group of residents planted trees. Okay, let's find out together. Okay, the answer is a group of residents planted trees. That's the more level up sentence of the first sentence. So it will also, next level, it will also use your critical thinking on like rejumbling the word to make it more accurate. Now let's proceed to the last one, which is writing further sentences from prompts. So prompts are given here. Trees, plant, groups, and residents. So how can we put these prompts into a sentence? Think. Okay, so here it can be the trees were planted by a group of residents, or a group of residents planted trees. It can be either the both, but let's figure it out. Let's click the right button. Okay. The trees were planted by a group of residents. So these options or prompts here is created into one sentence. So that's writing further sentence from prompts. You can add more about this actually. Like what I've said a while ago, I've mentioned 2 sentences. It will really practice your student in grammar. Now, from the aspect of using text, let's proceed to the which is teaching grammar through stories. Any one of you must say that how can we teach grammar through stories that all we have to do in stories is just read. Yeah, what you say is actually one of the practice of teaching grammar, because while reading you will enhance your comprehension skills, your vocabulary, because you can gain vocabulary for that, and of course your reading skills and fluency. So that's all I've mentioned was needed and was part of teaching and learning grammar. Yeah, you're right. Because through reading you can also obtain their or gain or adapt their grammar structure without even noticing it unconsciously, because you can't read, you can't be entertained in a story without comprehending it, right? Okay, so now let's proceed. Here is the first activity. You must teach grammar through a whole class story like this. Let me show you. Have you seen this illustration? This boy named Art. And what can you see? He is in the jail. He's prisoned. You can build, from the illustration itself, you can build your own sentence on what happened to that boy. Or that boy is in jail. Or Mark went to the prison. Okay, so let's find out what is given here. Okay, so Mark went to prison yesterday. So as you can see, what do you think why Mark is in the prison yesterday? Let's find out. But before that, let me ask you first. What part of tense is this? Is it past tense, present, or future? As what you've seen, there is a clue. There's a clue in the sentence. Okay, very good. It is the yesterday. So what do you think yesterday? Is it present? Present is today. It is future. Tomorrow is the future. Yesterday is past. So this sentence is past tense. Now let's proceed to the second illustration. What can you see in this illustration? This is also Mark. Mark is like a thief or robbed something, or he abducted money from something store, or he collect money without in a wrong way. It can be either in the store or something. Form it into Mark is a thief. Mark robbed a store. Like that, you can utter your own idea about what you've seen in the illustration. So what do you think is the answer? So Mark robbed a bank. Okay, so now let's proceed to this next picture. What can you see? Mark and his family is very sad and they think about money. So what can you construct a sentence about this? Illustration. Mark's family is sad. Mark's family needed money. He needed money to contribute to his family. It can be like that. We can construct many sentences actually. So let's find out together. Okay, that is why we are correct. What we're thinking is correct. You're very good. He needed money for his family. So that is why Mark went to prison yesterday, because he robbed a bank. And why did he rob a bank? Because it gives her urge to rob a bank, because he didn't think anything which will help his family, for he needed money for his family. That is why. So that's the example of teaching grammar through a whole class story. You put an illustration and you'll give a story out of the topic. So here, let me ask you, here in this next slide, in this sentence, look at the sentence. Mark robbed a bank blank. He needed money for his family. So, what do you think is the conjunction we need to put here in order to connect these two clauses to make this independent? Think. Let's figure it out. Okay. Mark robbed a bank because he needed money for his family. So the word because here is the conjunction which connects the two clauses to make it independent. Okay. So what do you think is the opposite of this word? Okay, let's figure it out. What do you think? It may be, if Mark doesn't need money, he wouldn't rob a bank. If Mark is rich, he wouldn't rob a bank. Okay, now let's figure it out. Okay, if Mark hadn't needed money, he wouldn't have robbed a bank. Yes, of course, because if someone has a lot of money, they doesn't need to rob a bank to gain more money, because they can eat 3 times a day, they can get what they want, so they don't have reason to get money from others. So this is a big, in this case, Mark really needs the money. Okay, do you understand? Now let's proceed to the next slide. Here, second, teaching grammar by having students create characters. For example, you let your student create a character. For example, here I created this and put some information regarding the character they've created, like the name. Its name is Wella. Its age is 7 years old, and the location is Beijing, China. From the physical appearance itself, it is really from China. And with that information, let them construct sentences regarding to the character and its information. And here, what I do is, here are my sentences that I constructed. Here, let's read together. Wella is a 7-year-old girl who lives in Beijing, China. Did you see it? That all the information is fit in and constructed into a one sentence. Did you get it? Now let's improvise it. Improvise the first sentence. Here, I've improvised it. Wella, who lives in Beijing, China, is a 7-year-old girl. So I just paraphrase, jumbled the words, but in an accurate way. Did you get it? Now let's proceed to the next slide. Third one in using stories is teaching grammar tenses through comparative characters. So here, comparative character is the two characters who has different similarities and differences. So here, let's figure it out. Here is the example. Here you can see a boy. Her name is Jack. What do you think is Jack's hobby? From its physical, what do you think? He loves to travel, for he carries backpack full of equipments and stuff like that. So where did he want to travel? To Australia and Spain. And now we can compare, I said a while ago, two persons. So here is the another person which is named Megan. What do you think Megan is? He is also a traveler. Like what you've seen, he brings a lot of backpacks and some other stuffs. And where do you want to? He wants to travel to Egypt and Japan. So if you will compare the two, you will show this to you'll explain this to the students and show it through illustration to them and let them construct sentence which is connected or corresponds to the illustration. And with the comparison, the similarities and difference of the two. Like for example, Jack likes to travel to Spain and Australia, while Megan likes to travel to Egypt and Japan. How can you figure out the differences and the similarities? As you can see, travel and travel. There are two words, travel and likes. Jack likes travel. Megan likes travel. So they are similar in their hobbies. They like traveling. But they differ in the destination they want to. Like here in Jack, he wants to travel in Spain and Australia. While here in Megan, he loves to travel in Egypt and Japan. Now, let's test your knowledge about tenses. So here, in this sentence, Jack went to Spain in 2005. Is it past, present, or future? Jack went. So he already went to Spain in 2005. So it is a past tense. Well, on the second one, Megan has been to Egypt. Has been. So he already got there. So he has been to Egypt. So that means he already got there. That's also past tense. Understood? Okay, that's the way we teach grammar through tenses and comparative characters. Okay, now let's proceed to the next slide. I'm teaching comparatives through comparative characters. So this is you're going to teach comparisons. This is the evolved one or the much higher level one than the past, than what I've said a while ago. This focus will be on comparison. So here, let us see the characters. First one is named Marco and second one is James. So these two competes, and the competitions they took is examination, weightlifting competition, and money. They were asked who has more money. So here, based on the competitions, what are adjectives can be made in this first sentence? They took an exam. What is an adjective in order to win? In order to win in the examination, you need wit. You need to be intelligent. You need to be smart. Exactly. So adjective of this first one is smart. The second one is they had a weightlifting competition. Weightlifting, from the word it's weight. So it needs to be strong. To be strong in order to lift anything, right? So the adjective here is strong. And the last one is they were asked who has more money. What do you think? Who has a lot of money? So what do you think if you have a lot of money? You are rich. Yeah, you're rich. So that's right. The adjective here is rich. Let's see who won in this three competition. Okay, here are the three marker sentences. So Marco is smarter than James. So Marco wins in the first competition, which is the exam. So Marco is smarter than James. So the second one. Oh, again, Marco is stronger than James. He won in the weightlifting competition because he is more stronger. And the last one, James. Oh, it is already James. He is richer than Marco. So as I'm reading these three sentences here in three marker sentences, have you noticed these words, than? This word serves as the word which will make the comparison of the two characters. As you can see, smarter than, stronger than. richer than. The than there serves as the comparison each other's characters. Okay.
That's it for the methods of teaching grammar using stories.
Now let's proceed to the last one. Teaching grammar through songs and rhymes. All I can say is that a very relaxing and creative way of method is the song. Wanna know why? It is because songs contain authentic language that makes it easily obtainable, and it provides vocabulary and grammar, of course, as well as entertainment for the students. It will really nourish the students' efficacy in speaking, listening, at the same time practice the language. Songs is really helpful in enhancing one's knowledge in grammar. It is because, first, it will boost the vocabulary of a student from different phrases, which is necessary in grammar. We need vocabulary in order to produce accurate words. And one of the reasons that song can be an effective method is that it will gain the interest of your student. As what I said a while ago, it is very entertaining. And you can interact with the people inside the class. There's interaction between teachers, which makes it an effective kind of class teaching. So I have here an example entitled Grow Old With You. Shall I sing this for you to be entertained as well? Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. I wanna make you smile whenever you're sad. Carry you around when your arthritis is bad. All I wanna do is grow old with you. Wow, the message of the song is very, very wonderful. It is about love. And wait, don't you know that I comprehend the word? I comprehend the song. And that's the key word. I comprehend the song, and I can comprehend the song if the grammar in these songs are not correct. It means it is understandable, so the grammar itself inside these songs used are correct. The grammar structures and all. When you hear a song, you will obtain it, right? Because it is very stress reliever and can change our emotions as well, right? As you can see in the first words, you will see this as a simple words. Simply words which we'll use in our daily life. And we haven't noticed that we're slowly adapting the grammar structure of the song, the grammar, the vocabulary. We've gained the vocabulary, and with that, we can construct an accurate grammar we learn, okay? For further explanation, let's investigate the song. In here, in the first sentence, I wanna make you smile whenever you're sad. The I here is a pronoun, which replaces the noun. Example, Mariel wanna make you smile whenever you're sad. I is the replacement of the noun Mariel, which is the name, my name. Smile. When you smile, you didn't move, you move like this, right? You're moving your lips to curve, right? And you'll slide your lips to see your teeth, right? So that's movement, and that's considered as a verb. Sad there is an adjective which describes the feelings, emotions, and etc. of someone. Like, you are happy. Happy there is the adjective. So now, have you gained idea what words are inside the lyrics? It is not just simply words, but so now let's proceed to the rhymes. From the word itself, rhymes, it is about poetry, poems. So I have here collect one poem titled The Starry Night by Anne Sexton. So let's read together. The town does not exist, except where one black-haired tree slips up like a drowned woman into the hot sky. The town is silent. The night boils with 11 stars. Oh, starry, starry night, this is how I want to die. It moves, they are all alive. Even the moon bulges in its orange irons to push children like a god from its eye. The old unseen serpent swallows up the stars. Oh, starry, starry night, This is how I want to die. Into that rushing beast of the night, sucked up by that great dragon to split from a life with no flag, no belly, no cry. So the ambience of this poetry is full of sadness. From words that are used here, die, cry, and the dark, beast, scary, and sad. Actually, songs and rhymes are similar. They just differ the way it is delivered. Like for example, in poems, it has tonation but it doesn't accompanied by instruments or music, while the songs it accompanies by music. So they have the same explanation when we adapt it. When the way we acquired from poetry the same as the song. Okay? Because it is very entertaining as well, and the words grammar and its grammar structure. Okay, thank you for hearing my
Discussion.
Actually, these methods will surely give students motivation and interest to learn, which will lead to exploit an appropriate use of grammar. They, through these methods, they can learn grammar unconsciously with enjoyment, of course. Let your learners have fun while learning. With that, the effectivity of your teaching will come out really, really well. Okay, so that's all I want to share to you, and I hope you've got a tip on methods that you might use upon teaching grammar. Have a good day. Bye.